At midnight, every semi-truck in America stops. Not slows down, not waits out a storm, stops. The tractor-trailers hauling fuel, groceries, medicine, auto parts, livestock feed, and shipping containers are suddenly parked. For a few strangely peaceful minutes, the interstate may look better than it has in years. That is the trap. Modern America is not stocked like a bunker. It is synchronized like an engine, and semi-trucks are the belts, pumps, and moving parts connecting everything together. The exact timing would vary by city, inventory, and distance from a distribution hub, but the chain reaction would be remarkably consistent. We are following the first 72 hours, from the moment the highways go quiet to the point where a freight problem starts touching nearly every American household. Subscribe to Smart Buy Motors, because the fastest way to understand how important these machines are is to remove them from the picture. Hour 0. The last rigs roll into rest areas, truck stops, terminals, and whatever safe parking drivers can find. Loaded trailers sit at docks. Container chassis remain inside port yards. Refrigerated units keep humming, but now they are burning fuel without getting any closer to a store. One important detail makes this scenario more realistic. Delivery vans, municipal garbage trucks, pickups, and many straight trucks have not magically vanished. They can still move, at least for now. The problem is that the heavy tractor trailers connecting farms, factories, ports, warehouses, and cities are gone. Local vehicles can deliver what is already nearby, but the pipeline behind them has been cut. For the first hour, most Americans notice nothing except lighter traffic. A few commuters may even celebrate. Give it time. Inside logistics offices, missed appointments begin multiplying. A driver who was supposed to drop one trailer and collect another never arrives. A distribution center loses an outbound load. A factory keeps producing, but its yard keeps filling. Nothing has run out yet, but every inventory clock in the country has started ticking at the same moment. Fuel is leaving tanks, food is leaving shelves, medical supplies are leaving storerooms, and almost nothing heavy is coming back. By hour 3, warehouses discover that freight buildings are not really designed to be storage buildings. They are designed to breathe. Trailers arrive, doors open, pallets move, trailers leave. Stop that cycle and the building slowly inhales until it cannot take another breath. Workers may still pick orders. Forklifts may still race between aisles. Conveyor belts may still carry boxes with impressive confidence. But the finished loads have nowhere to go. At the same time, trailers that should have returned empty are still sitting somewhere else, so the system begins losing equipment as well as time. Early morning deliveries are missed. A supermarket opens without the produce load expected before sunrise. A restaurant distributor cannot replenish its local route trucks. A construction supplier has materials ready, but no tractor-trailer to move them between regions. By hour 6, dispatchers are not fixing one delay. They are watching hundreds of small failures join together. The dangerous part is how ordinary it still looks outside. There is no smoke over the skyline. No siren announces that a national supply chain is backing up. There are just more red marks on a screen, more full docks, and more people saying it should have been here by now. Between hours 6 and 12, fuel becomes one of the first problems drivers can actually see. Gas stations store a limited amount underground, and many busy locations depend on regular tanker deliveries. Not every station would run dry on the same schedule. Some would have plenty. Some high-volume locations could become vulnerable much sooner, especially if customers react badly. And customers are exceptionally talented at reacting badly. The first social media post about a station running low would send drivers out to top off half-full tanks, fill vehicles they barely use, and create the very shortage they fear. Pumps might still be operating while lines curl around the block. One station could lose regular gasoline while another still has premium. Diesel becomes strategically important because many buses, generators, emergency vehicles, farm machines, and local delivery fleets depend on it. Those local fleets may still be moving, but every gallon they burn is harder to replace. By hour 12, the fuel problem is partly about supply and partly about psychology. A tanker shutdown removes replenishment. Panic buying steps on the accelerator, and once fuel lines appear, the trucking stoppage is no longer something happening behind warehouse walls. It is happening at the corner gas station. By hour 18, grocery stores begin revealing the difference between a stocked shelf and a functioning supply chain. The cereal aisle may still look perfectly healthy. Fresh departments are less forgiving. Milk, eggs, bread, produce, Meat, seafood, and prepared foods move quickly, and many are replenished daily or several times a week. Refrigerated trailers matter because cold food cannot simply sit wherever there is space. A distribution center may have lettuce. A city store may need lettuce. Without the line haul truck between them, both facts can be true while dinner remains disappointing. The first visible gaps would probably appear in fast-moving products at busy stores, not as every shelf becoming empty at once. Then shoppers do what shoppers do. One missing row of bread convinces someone to buy 3 loaves. A half-empty milk cooler becomes an invitation to clear the other half. Smaller stores and remote communities may feel the interruption sooner, while large retailers with deeper inventories may hold out longer. By hour 24, America is not starving, and saying otherwise would be nonsense. But the illusion of endless choice has cracked. The supermarket begins to look less like a permanent warehouse, and more like what it really is: a temporary display, fed by trucks that normally arrive before anyone notices they were needed. At the 24-hour mark, hospitals, pharmacies, nursing homes, and clinics begin protecting their margins of safety. They do not instantly run out of medicine, and responsible facilities maintain emergency plans and varying levels of reserve inventory. But healthcare consumes far more than pills. It needs sterile supplies, oxygen, laboratory materials, linens, food, cleaning chemicals, replacement equipment, and temperature-controlled products. The risk is unevenness. One hospital may have a healthy reserve of a certain item, while another is already tight. One pharmacy may have your prescription, while the location across town is waiting for a tote trapped at a regional hub. Under normal conditions, freight smooths out those differences. During a shutdown, administrators start checking burn rates, conserving selected items, coordinating with nearby facilities, and protecting critical procedures. Some non-urgent activity could be delayed if a specific supply becomes scarce, but this would vary widely. The credible danger is not that every hospital suddenly goes dark. It is that isolated shortages become harder to solve because the usual answer, "put it on the next truck," no longer exists. By hour 30, the country has moved beyond inconvenience. The freight network is now affecting decisions where getting another shipment tomorrow was part of the safety plan. Between hours 30 and 40, manufacturing begins to feel the stoppage with very little sense of humor. Many plants use lean or just-in-time systems, keeping less inventory on site and receiving parts close to when production needs them. It is efficient when transportation behaves like a Swiss watch. Remove the trucks, and the watch becomes an expensive bracelet. An auto plant can have engines, seats, glass, wheels, and thousands of workers ready to go, then slow down because one electronic module is missing. A food processor can have ingredients but not enough packaging. A chemical facility can keep producing until storage reaches its limit, then reduce output because finished material cannot leave. Some plants would continue longer than others. Some might stop within a shift if the missing component is critical. Even facilities served by rail still rely on road freight for many inbound parts and outbound loads. By hour 36, suppliers begin reacting to customers that cannot receive. Finished goods stack up. Trailer yards stop turning. Maintenance teams start guarding replacement parts. The country still has machines, workers, and raw materials, but the pieces are being stranded on opposite sides of a continent. Manufacturing has not forgotten how to build things. It has lost the ability to assemble the supply chain around them. By hour 42, the shutdown reaches services. People usually notice only when they fail. Local parcel vans can still deliver boxes already inside neighborhood facilities, but the tractor-trailers that move parcels between regional hubs are not arriving. Very quickly, 2-day shipping becomes more of a historical reference than a promise. Restaurants begin trimming menus as fresh ingredients, cooking oil, beverages, paper products, and cleaning supplies become harder to replenish. Hotels protect linen and food inventories. Construction sites wait for lumber, fixtures, machinery, and materials that may be sitting in another state. Waste creates a different bottleneck. Municipal garbage trucks may continue their routes, but transfer stations, recycling facilities, supermarkets, industrial sites, and landfills often rely on heavier combination vehicles to move bulk material onward. Collection can continue only while the next link has room. Compactors fill. Loading areas tighten. Spoiled food and damaged goods accumulate behind businesses. By hour 48, the crisis does not arrive as one giant cinematic explosion. It arrives as 100 irritating doors closing at once. The package stops moving. The repair part never comes. The restaurant removes half the menu. The job site sends workers home. America is still operating, but more and more of it is operating on whatever happened to be nearby when the rig stopped. During hours 48 through 56, agriculture faces one of the cruelest versions of the problem. Farms cannot pause biology. Cows still need milking. Livestock still need feed. Poultry houses still need ventilation, supplies, and fuel. Crops do not reschedule harvest because the logistics department is having a difficult week. Many agricultural operations depend on heavy trucks in both directions. Feed, fertilizer, packaging, medicine, and fuel come in. Milk, grain, animals, vegetables, and fruit go out. Not every farm would fail on the same clock, and some local straight truck routes could continue. But regional transfers, bulk feed movements, processing plant deliveries, and long-distance produce shipments would be severely disrupted. Dairy shows the problem clearly. Milk keeps entering farm storage, whether the next tanker arrives or not. Once capacity is reached, producers may have no good option except disposal. Fresh produce has an even shorter patience span. Strawberries do not wait for an emergency waiver. Lettuce is famously uninterested in transportation policy. By hour 54, food can exist in enormous quantities in rural America, while urban shelves develop gaps. That is the central paradox of the shutdown. A shortage does not always mean the country lacks the product. It can simply mean the product is trapped somewhere useful to nobody. By hour 60, the pressure shifts toward ports, rail yards, airports, and intermodal terminals. At first glance, these look like the obvious rescue plan. Use more trains, use ships, put urgent cargo on aircraft. The problem is that transportation modes are partners, not interchangeable superheroes. Rail can move huge volumes efficiently between terminals, but most customers do not have a railroad behind the building. Ships can bring thousands of containers into a port, but they cannot carry one to a warehouse in Kansas. Air freight can move medicine and high-value cargo quickly, but trucks still handle much of the trip to and from the airport. Some freight could be rerouted. On dock, rail and existing intermodal services would keep part of the system alive. But capacity, schedules, equipment, and destinations cannot be reinvented in 60 hours. Containers begin occupying terminal space longer. Rail ramps struggle to clear inbound cargo. Airport warehouses protect room for priority shipments. The problem is no longer getting freight across an ocean or across the country. It is evacuating it from the terminal and completing the final leg. By hour 62, America has created a traffic jam made of freight that is barely moving. The cargo is not missing. It is waiting for the one machine capable of taking it almost anywhere. From hour 62 to hour 72, the stoppage becomes a national coordination problem. Fuel lines grow in vulnerable markets. Grocery limits appear on fast-moving items. Restaurants reduce hours. Selected factories remain idle. Hospitals and emergency managers work to identify critical loads, and whatever transportation capacity can be restored first. Authorities would prioritize fuel, food, medicine, water treatment chemicals, emergency equipment, and other community lifelines. But here is the final twist. Restarting every semi at hour 72 would not rewind the previous 3 days. Drivers, tractors, and trailers would be out of position. Appointment windows would have expired. Warehouses would face delayed orders from every customer at once. Ports and rail terminals would need time to clear accumulated cargo. Perishable loads would be inspected, redirected, or discarded. Factories could not restart until the right parts arrived in the right sequence. The recovery would be a second logistics challenge, layered on top of the first. And that is what 72 hours without semi-trucks really reveals. These rigs are not just big machines taking up the right lane while you are late for work. They are the moving connective tissue of a continental economy. Remove them, and America does not collapse with one dramatic bang. It becomes tighter, slower, and more fragile hour by hour, until millions of people are waiting for something that exists, has already been paid for, and is sitting somewhere else. Subscribe to Smart Buy Motors for more stories about the machines behind modern America. Because the road only looks empty when you cannot see everything that stopped with it.